I'm Matt McClure with agentandadvisor.com, and I am very glad to be joined by Kelly Kleinsasser, the president of Forward Strategies. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, Matt.
Well, we're talking about something that might on the surface sound kind of weird, but I'm kind of a weird person. So there you go. I fit right in. But it's why referrals are killing your business. And people might look on the surface and say, well, referrals aren't killing my business. Referrals are actually kind of the lifeblood of my business. So why might, for at least some agents and advisors out there, referrals actually be kind of doing the opposite and killing their business?
Right. Yeah. So a little bit of a provocative title there. But as you know, we work with hundreds of agents and advisors. And what we have found is that agents typically fall into one of three categories regarding their success in the business, kind of how they're building their business to grow it to larger levels. And the first one we'll just kind of get out of the way first, and it's that struggling advisor. And that struggling advisor a lot of times doesn't have a market to work. Maybe they don't have knowledge in the business, and they're definitely not doing any marketing at all. Now that advisor might also just be getting started in the business, right? So they might just be brand new, and that might be the reason they're struggling. But at the other end of the spectrum is that super advisor, right? So it's what we call a lion, and we do that because they're the kind of the king of the jungle. They've cracked the code, so to speak, and they seem to have it all figured out. What we're here to talk about today is that agent that's in the middle, and it's an agent that's successful, but they're looking to be more successful. And I would say that is a majority of the producers that we see on a daily basis. If you ask them if they're trying to be lions, the answer is yes. They all want to be lions, and some of them are going to be successful in getting there. Now, all three of those agent groups started out exactly the same way. And Matt, do you know what they were told when they first got in the business?
Well, as you know, Kelly, I am life and health licensed. The first thing that I was told was to get that list of 100 friends and family that who might be planning for retirement or need some sort of insurance. And I said 100 people. I'm like, do I know 100 people?
Right.
But then it turned out I did.
Yeah, well, that's better than me, right? You must be a lot nicer guy, because I definitely couldn't get to the 100 people. But that's why typically agents start to struggle. Is they contact their friends, they contact their family, and by now all those friends and family know that it's coming, and that actually runs out pretty quickly. So in order to be successful in the business, you've got to find prospects. And the primary way people do that is through marketing programs. And it can be a lot of different things. It can be calling lists. There's something that we used to do a lot called A/B calling, where you'd have someone make an A call offering a product or a service. And then we would send that information out. And then we would do the B call, basically saying, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm just calling back on the information that you requested. There's mailing postcards and dropping by the house to make sure that they got that mailing. A great one is seminars, or in today's world, you can buy internet or TV leads. Each one of those programs has a startup period, and every one of those marketing programs takes a lot of effort. It generally takes a lot of money, and it can take a lot of time before the leads start to flow. That long tail is important, because a lot of people don't want to wait for that tail, and we'll get to that in a minute. But when the leads do start to flow, it is definitely well worth the effort, the money, and the time that you spent. And at that point, most advisors, businesses start to grow. And sometimes that can happen extremely rapidly. At some point in the process, advisors decide or see someone else being very successful with referrals. Now, referrals are the gold standard for leads. There really is nothing better. So we can get that out of the way. I know we have the title about referrals, but really nothing is better than a referral. Top agents ask for and they receive referrals. And the reason for that is referrals, compared to other lead sources, number one, they're easier to set appointments with. And number two, they're easier to convert to clients. So a top advisor that's asking and receiving referrals, those referrals are flowing in. And at this point, everything is going relatively well in the advisor's business. Business is great. It's growing from multiple sources of activity and input. And I think that's a key point there. It's from multiple sources of activity and input. So here, Matt, is where some of the problems begin. And it's just something that I think we all seem to do, is we all fall into where we want to compare things. And we start comparing the effort it takes to generate a client from a referral to the effort that is spent on other lead forms. And as you know, it's a big, big difference. It takes a whole lot more effort to convert a TV lead or a radio lead than it does a referral. The second comparison is effectiveness. So advisors rightfully start to question the effectiveness of non-referral leads because they are so much harder to convert. And what happens a lot of times is that those advisors decide that I'm only going to work with referrals from this point forward because that seems to be where they're receiving most of their business. And it's just the path of least resistance. So agents and advisors will often stop those other lead programs and they decide to work only referrals. And then what happens is the referrals slow down. And at some point, the agent's business seems to plateau. And I've seen this dozens of times. They start receiving just enough referrals to maintain a consistent, but not a growing level of business every single year. And advisors typically start to produce the same amount of production year after year. And they do very well, but they don't grow and they never become that lion that they want to become. And at some point, their business actually starts to drop and they realize the need for marketing. And then guess what? They've got to start from scratch. So, Matt, what did every single one of those agents and advisors have in common that was struggling?
Well, I guess they quit marketing, right?
Yeah, that was the test, the one test question for the day.
Great, yay.
So that's it. You get an A+ on that. So you're right. They quit marketing. So what is the solution for that? It's pretty straightforward. The solution is to never stop marketing. And I was told early on in the business, I started in Lincoln, Nebraska, and if you never stop marketing, you won't have to start. And that is important because starting that pipeline up again can be a really big challenge for an advisor, especially one who's already gone through that entire process. It really is easier just to continue on with your marketing than to start it and then stop it and to go through that many times over your career. And then the other solution is don't fall into that trap of comparing your leads from other forms of marketing to referrals, because other marketing simply will be more difficult to convert and take much longer, just like when you first started in the business. But you must do it because it's going to keep you much more successful throughout your career. So, Matt, that is why referrals might be killing your business. And that is a solution to stop that from happening.
There you go. I love it. You made sense of it all there, Kelly. And you not only presented us with the problem, you presented us with the solution, because, I don't like it when people just bring me their problems. But you are always the one to bring the solutions, which I appreciate.
Yeah, well, a problem without a solution is just a problem, right?
That's right. Absolutely, by very definition.
Yeah.
Kelly Kleinsasser is the president of Forward Strategies. Kelly, thanks so much for being here. Really do appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Matt.